Hi, friends. Welcome to class. Today, we're going to be talking about a subset of the Suzerainty Treaties that we've been covering for the past couple weeks. We've been spending some time talking about the different kinds of treaties in the ancient world, and you're probably sick of me talking about this. But today, I want to introduce to you the final kind of treaty so that we can better understand what God is doing as we move deeper into the Old Testament. So, in the ancient world, there were two main kinds of suzerains. And the difference in these two kinds of suzerains is going to prove critical for how we understand what God is doing in the stories of Moses, in the story of the people of Israel, of David, and even with Abraham, right? So let's talk about this. We've talked about the two treaty types, right? There's the parity treaty, there's the suzerainty treaty. We've spent a lot of time covering that, and you guys are crushing that. Love to see it. But there are also two main kinds of suzerainty treaties that we find in the ancient world. The first one is the kind of treaty that looks like the ones that Assyria makes. And the other one is the kind of treaty that the group of people called the Hittites make. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what the treaties that the Hittites make look like. So again, make sure you're taking good notes here because some of this it feels like we can get bogged down in it. So make sure you're taking good notes so you can come back to it later. Let's talk about the Assyrian kind of treaty. The Assyrian kind of treaty is very much a gun to the head kind of treaty. It is a do this or else, right? The suzerain is going to come to the vassal and say, if you don't keep my law, I swear I will come and punch you right through the throat. I will tie you up by your toenails and launch you into next Tuesday, right? It's a threat, and it is only a threat. There is nothing else. This kind of treaty, the ones that the Assyrians are really popular for, are really known for, is the most popular kind of suzerainty treaty. When we look at the ancient Near East, most ancient Near Eastern people groups are doing this kind of treaty. And I mean, it makes sense. It's easy. It's the simplest way to build one. If you have a vassal and you want them to do what you say, just threaten to kill them. And if they don't do what you say, well, I'll kill you and then I get your land anyway. Win-win, right? We love to see it. So that's the Assyrian kind of treaty. The other kind of treaty is the one that I think is far more interesting. This is the Hittite treaty. So the Hittites were a group of people who lived just north of Canaan in Mesopotamia. If you think about the maps that we've been doing and we think about where Assyria is up here, the Hittites are kind of sandwiched right between Assyria and Canaan. The Hittites' suzerainty treaties looked a little different. Whereas the Assyrians just put the gun to the head and said, do what I say or else, the Hittite treaty seems to be much more focused on trust. It is attempting to get you, the vassal, to keep your word because the suzerain, sorry, I forgot the word, because the suzerain has been good to you. There's a feature of the Hittite treaty called the historical prologue. This sounds like a really crazy word, but write it down, circle it, underline it. This is an important word. The historical prologue is a portion of the treaty that does a lot of this work of building trust. We see the word historical, meaning the past. Prologue, meaning, think like in a novel, right? The prologue comes before the rest of the story. So the historical prologue is a telling about the past that happens before the rest of the covenant gets written down. So as you're reading the covenant, there's like one piece, kind of like an introduction to who the people are in the covenant. And then the very next thing, before we get into the meat of the covenant, is the historical prologue. And the goal of the historical prologue is to say, look at everything we've done for you guys. We've talked about this briefly in class, but the historical prologue, the suzerain comes to the vassal and says, hey, remember that time you guys were starving and we brought you a lot of food? Remember that time that the Assyrians tried to attack you and we protected you? Remember that time that there was a drought and we made sure that you guys had enough water, etc., etc. The historical prologue seeks to build trust. Let me tell you all of the reasons that you can trust me. Look at what I've done for you. Look what my dad always did for you, what my grandpa always did for you. My people have always cared for your people. The goal here is, instead of trying to threaten the person like the Assyrians are doing, instead to say, hey, You want to trust me. Look how much I've taken care of you. Why would you do anything else? Pause. I want you guys to pair up and to discuss. Pause this video, talk with a partner, explain the two different kinds of suzerainty treaties, the difference between a Assyrian suzerainty treaty and a Hittite suzerainty treaty. Go ahead and pause the video and do that. Okay, welcome back. I'm assuming you did it. If you did, good job. If you didn't, boo, do better. No, you guys are great. I want to talk about some of the features of a Hittite suzerainty treaty or a Hittite covenant. Because these parts of the Hittite covenant become really important as we start seeing this kind of thing showing up in the Old Testament. So Hittite covenant has 6 parts. I'm going to go kind of slow through these, somewhat slow through these. Make sure you write all of these down. This is going to be very important for your assignment at the end of the lecture. So the first part of the covenant is the preamble. Some of you guys may have had to memorize the preamble to the Constitution, right? The we the people, that section of the Constitution. It is basically telling you who's involved. What's the treaty going to be about? It's the setup. It doesn't really have a lot of content about the treaty, but it's letting you know who's involved, what's going on. Maybe it'll give you a little bit of this treaty is made after the war of something. I don't know. But it's just kind of letting you know the setup, who's involved in this treaty. That's the preamble. The second part, the historical prologue. We already know about this one. This is great, right? The historical prologue says, look at all the ways we've helped you guys. You tiny baby vassals, look at all the things we've done to take care of you, the ways that we've cared for you in the past. Isn't that awesome? Don't you want to trust us now? Because we're like your best friends. 2 steps, preamble, historical prologue. Step 3, the stipulations. Stipulations, big word. All it means, the rules. These are the rules of the covenant. If you want to stay in the covenant, here's what you're going to have to do. And the stipulations are for both the suzerain and the vassal. The vassal's stipulations might be tribute. You've got to send me 100 pieces of gold every year. You have to send me 25 soldiers every year. Whatever the rules might be. The rules may be you can't have any other suzerains, right? Like we've already talked about some of those. These are simply the rules that determine, for the vassal, it's just the things you have to do to stay in the treaty. But the rules are also for the suzerain. What kind of things is the suzerain going to do? What kind of things is the suzerain not going to do? Rules, the stipulations may be if the vassal gets attacked, the suzerain will come back them up. If the vassal runs out of food, the suzerain's going to provide them with food, right? This is just it's the deal. This is the deal that is being made and the rules that everybody has to keep. So preamble, historical prologue, stipulations. Number 4, blessings and curses. We love it. This is super simple. The blessings, here's all the good stuff I'm going to give you if you keep up your end of the bargain. The suzerain looks at the vassal and says, if you keep the covenant, you take care of me, you give me all the money and the food that I ask for, then I will make sure your land prospers. I will make sure you are protected from all of your enemies, etc. I'm going to bless you. I'm going to give you all the things that you need as long as you keep your end of the bargain. The other side of that is the curses. If you don't hold up your end of the bargain, here's the bad stuff I'm going to do to you. I will take away my protection. I will pillage your farms. I will steal all of your women, whatever it is, right? I'm gonna do bad things. If you do the good stuff, I will bless you. If you do bad stuff, you don't keep the rules, I'm gonna curse you. I'm gonna make your life really bad, right? So preamble, historical prologue, stipulations, blessings and curses. Number 5, witnesses. Think about why you might call witnesses to a contract. Right? A witness is someone who's going to make sure you don't lie. If I'm making a contract with, say I'm making a contract with Miss Mayo, who is to keep me from breaking my end of the deal? Who's to keep me from going to the government later and just being like, oh no, those weren't the terms of the contract. She's making all this kind of stuff up. You got to have a witness. right? Think about what happened with Boaz, right? Boaz, whenever Boaz is making his deal about Ruth with the next of kin, he calls all the elders together, right? Because he wants to make sure that everyone knows he tried to make this deal and we have receipts and we know that nobody's trying to cheat the other person. Importantly, the witnesses need to be stronger than you, right? The witnesses in Boaz's case are the elders. These are people who can hold him accountable if he doesn't hold up his end of the bargain. Same thing for the other guy. This is tricky whenever you're two kings. Who's stronger than the king? Well, as you guys read this treaty that you're about to read here in a second, you're going to realize the witnesses are usually gods. Usually the two kings are going to invoke their gods to bear witness and basically say, gods, you are seeing this now. If I don't hold my end of the bargain, strike me down. If he doesn't hold up his end of the bargain, strike him down. And you're going to see more in this Hittite treaty we're about to read, more storm gods than you knew were possible, right? So we have the preamble, historical prologue, the stipulations, blessings and curses, and the witnesses. The final part of a Hittite Suzerainty Treaty is the periodic reading. Periodic meaning like a period of time, and reading meaning reading, right? What the periodic reading says is every however long, every year, every 6 months, every 3 years, the king, in the presence of his whole court, has to read this treaty out loud. And the reason is, you better not forget the deal. The suzerain looks at the vassal and says, I don't want you to say, oh, I forgot that was in there. Sorry, I didn't do this thing right. No, you're going to read this all the time. And because you read it all the time, you'll never forget what's in it. So you'll never have an excuse as to why you didn't keep up your end of the bargain. So these are our 6 parts: the preamble, the historical prologue, the stipulations, the blessings and curses, the witnesses, and the periodic reading. These 6 parts make Hittite suzerainty treaties unique amongst all the other kinds of treaties that we see in the ancient world. And it's here that I want to invite you guys to become ancient Near Eastern historians with me. We're going to do a little bit of work. We are going to spend some time identifying these 6 parts of a treaty in a treaty that you guys have. So here's what you're going to do. Partner up. You can use your same partner from earlier. You're going to read the Hittite treaty. Your sub is going to pass out the treaty to you guys so that you each have a copy. What you're going to do with your partner, with that treaty, is to highlight or underline in the treaty where you see each of those 6 parts of the treaty happening. So, maybe just like a big circle around, here's where they're calling the witnesses. Here's where they're doing the periodic reading. Here's where the historical prologue is. Here's the blessings and curses, etc., right? I just need you to make like little brackets or highlight or underline or circle something. Identify each of these 6 parts in this Hittite treaty that I've given you guys. Make sure you put your name on these. Both partners need to do one. And make sure you hold on to them, because whenever I come back, we're going to go over these. And this will be taken up for a grade. So make sure you actually do this. I feel like there was something else important that I needed to tell you. I don't think so. You guys are going to do great. If you have any questions, bummer, I can't answer them right now. But write them down and I'll see if I can answer them whenever I come back. Please enjoy. This is what you're doing for the rest of class. Have fun. Love you guys.